"Mommy, why does that man keep looking at you?" The words hit Natasha Johnson like ice water. She glanced down at her daughter, 6-year-old Emma, whose small hand gripped hers tighter as they walked through the parking lot behind the restaurant. It was past 11, the night shift finally over, and the question Natasha had been avoiding for 3 weeks now hung in the cold air between them. "He's not, baby. You're just tired." But Emma was right. Natasha had seen him too. Every shift for the past month, the same man. Sitting in different booths, ordering coffee he barely touched. His eyes tracking her movements across the dining room like she was something he owned. Her hands shook as she unlocked her car, a 15-year-old sedan that coughed when it started. She'd told herself she was being paranoid. That working double shifts and sleeping 4 hours a night was making her see threats that weren't there. But tonight he'd waited in the parking lot. She'd seen him through the kitchen window, leaning against a dark truck, watching the employee exit. That's when she'd made a choice that terrified her more than the stalker himself. She'd walked straight to table 12, where Adrian Moretti sat alone like he did every Thursday night, and she'd leaned close enough to smell expensive cologne and something darker underneath. Danger, maybe. Or power. "That man's been stalking me," she'd whispered, her voice breaking despite her best effort to sound calm. "The one by the door in the gray jacket. I don't know what to do." She hadn't expected him to look up with those devastating dark eyes. Hadn't expected him to set down his whiskey with the kind of controlled precision that made her stomach flip. And she certainly hadn't expected him to say, in a voice smooth as smoke, "Go out the front entrance with your daughter. My driver will take you home. I'll handle this. I can't just. You came to me for help." His gaze pinned her in place. "So let me help you, Natasha." The fact that he knew her name, that he'd been paying attention to, should have scared her. Instead, something inside her chest loosened for the first time in months. Now, 12 hours later, sitting in her small kitchen while Emma ate cereal before school, Natasha couldn't stop replaying what happened next. How she'd walked out the front like he'd instructed. How a sleek black car had indeed been waiting. How the driver had known her address without her saying a word. How when she'd gotten home and locked every door twice, she'd received a single text from an unknown number. "He won't bother you again. You're safe now." But she didn't feel safe. She felt like she'd just made a deal with the devil, and she didn't even know the terms. "Hey there, my wonderful friend. How's your day going? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this story so far. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from." Emma looked up from her cereal, milk on her chin. "Is that man coming back today?" "No, baby." Natasha smoothed her daughter's dark curls, so much like her father's. Michael had been gone 2 years now, taken by a drunk driver on an ordinary Tuesday, and she'd been drowning ever since. Working herself to exhaustion, barely keeping the lights on, trying to be both parents to a little girl who deserved so much more. "He's not coming back." "Good." Emma returned to her breakfast. "I didn't like his face." Neither had Natasha. There'd been something hungry in the stalker's expression, something that made her skin crawl. She'd filed 2 police reports. Both times, they'd told her there was nothing they could do unless he actually threatened her or broke a law. Following someone wasn't illegal. Making them feel unsafe wasn't enough. But apparently, it was enough for Adrian Moretti. She'd heard the rumors, of course. Everyone who worked downtown knew about the Moretti family. About the restaurants and nightclubs that were fronts for darker business. About the man who'd taken over the empire at 25 when his father died. Who'd married young and lost his wife to cancer 3 years ago. Who now moved through the city like a ghost haunting his own life. She'd never thought she'd speak to him. Never thought a man like that would even see someone like her. A broke waitress with circles under her eyes and grease stains on her shoes. But he had seen her. And now, staring at that text message in the morning light, Natasha realized she'd crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Her phone buzzed. Another unknown number, but somehow she knew it was him. "Dinner tonight. 7 o'clock. My driver will pick you up. We need to talk about your situation." Her fingers hovered over the screen. Every instinct screamed that getting deeper into Adrian Moretti's world was dangerous, that whatever he'd done to make the stalker disappear came with a price she couldn't afford. But then Emma laughed at something on her coloring page, bright and innocent and trusting that her mother would keep her safe, and Natasha knew she was out of options. She typed back 3 letters that would change everything. Okay. The restaurant wasn't what Natasha expected. No velvet ropes or marble floors, no ostentatious display of wealth. Instead, Adrian's driver had brought her to a small Italian place on the east side, the kind with checkered tablecloths and the smell of garlic bread filling the air. It looked like somewhere a family would go for Sunday dinner. "Mr. Moretti owns this one too," the driver said as he opened her door. His name was Vincent, an older man with kind eyes that didn't match the gun she'd glimpsed under his jacket. It was his mother's favorite. Natasha smoothed down her only good dress, a simple navy blue thing she'd worn to Michael's funeral and hadn't touched since. Her neighbor, Mrs. Cora, was watching Emma, bribed with $20 Natasha couldn't spare and a promise to be home by 10. Adrian stood when she entered. He wore dark jeans and a simple black sweater, his tattoos visible on his hands and creeping up his neck. In the soft lighting, he looked younger than she'd thought, tired like her, carrying weight that had nothing to do with muscle. "You came," he said, and there was genuine surprise in his voice. "You didn't give me much choice." She sat across from him, heart hammering. "Your text wasn't exactly a request." Something flickered in his expression. Amusement, maybe. Or respect. "You're right. I apologize. I'm not used to asking." A woman appeared at their table, 50s, with flour on her apron and a warm smile that faltered when she saw Natasha. "Adrian, you didn't tell me you were bringing company." "Natasha, this is Rosa. She runs the kitchen here, has since my mother was alive." Adrian's voice softened when he mentioned his mother. "Rosa, this is Natasha Johnson. She needs our help." Help. Like this was a community service, not whatever dangerous thing he'd done last night. Rosa studied Natasha with sharp eyes, then nodded. "I'll bring the special. You're too skinny, both of you." When they were alone, Adrian leaned forward. "The man who was following you is named Derek Lansing. Small-time criminal, mainly harassment and stalking charges. 3 different women have filed restraining orders against him in the past 5 years. Natasha's blood went cold. "How did you find all that in one night?" "I have resources the police don't use." He paused. "He won't be bothering you again. I made sure of it." "What does that mean?" Her voice came out sharper than intended. "What did you do to him?" "I had a conversation with him about boundaries and consequences." Adrian's expression didn't change, but something dark flickered behind his eyes. "He's leaving the state. He won't be back." She should feel relieved. Instead, she felt trapped. "And what do you want in return? Men like you don't help people for free." The words landed like a slap. Adrian sat back, jaw tight. For a long moment, he just looked at her, and Natasha wondered if she'd made a terrible mistake. If she'd insulted a man who could make her disappear as easily as he'd made Derek Lansing leave town. Then he did something unexpected. He laughed, low and rough, like he'd forgotten how. "You're right. Men like me don't." He met her eyes. "But I'm not asking for money, if that's what you think. And I'm not asking for anything else either, before your mind goes there." Heat crept up her neck. "Then what do you want?" "Honestly." Adrian ran a hand through his dark hair. "I don't know yet. When you came to my table last night, you looked terrified. Not of me. Of him. And I remembered what it felt like to be powerless to protect someone you love. His wife. The one who died of cancer while he'd had all the money and power in the world. And none of it had mattered." "I'm sorry," Natasha said quietly. "About your wife." His face closed off immediately. "This isn't about her." But it was. She could see it in the way his fingers tightened around his glass, in the grief that lived permanently in the corners of his eyes. Rosa returned with plates of pasta that smelled like heaven. Natasha couldn't remember the last time she'd eaten something she hadn't microwaved at 2 in the morning between shifts. They ate in silence for a while. Then Adrian asked, "How old is your daughter?" 6. Emma. Natasha's chest tightened the way it always did when she talked about her little girl. "She's the only good thing I've ever done." "Where's her father?" "Dead. Car accident 2 years ago." The words came easier now, worn smooth by repetition. "We weren't rich before, but Michael had life insurance, or so I thought. Turned out the policy had lapsed 3 months before he died. He'd forgotten to pay it or couldn't afford it. I never found out which." She set down her fork. "So now it's just us, and I work 60-hour weeks, and it's still not enough." She hadn't meant to say all that. Hadn't meant to lay her failure bare in front of this dangerous stranger. But something about Adrian made her want to be honest, like he could see through lies anyway, so why bother? "My wife's name was Sophia." Adrian's voice was rough. "She was a teacher. 2nd grade. She wanted 4 kids, a house with a garden, the whole thing." He stared at his plate. "We got 3 years of marriage before the diagnosis. Pancreatic cancer. She was gone 6 months later, and all my money, all my connections couldn't save her." Natasha reached across the table without thinking, covering his tattooed hand with hers. "I'm sorry." He looked at their joined hands like he'd forgotten what human comfort felt like. "I haven't talked about her in 2 years. Not to anyone." "Why now? Why me?" "Because you understand." His fingers turned, threading through hers. "You know what it's like to lose everything and still have to wake up and keep going. Most people in my life don't." They sat like that, 2 broken people holding onto each other in a small restaurant that smelled like garlic and memories, and Natasha felt something shift in her chest. Something that had been frozen since Michael died. Terrified her. "I should go," she said, pulling her hand back. "Emma gets nightmares if I'm gone too long. Let me help you." Adrian stood when she did. "Not because I want something. Because I can, and you need it." Pride warred with desperation. Pride lost. "How?" "I own a building on Maple Street. Good neighborhood, good schools. There's a 2-bedroom apartment, ground floor, that's been empty for 3 months. It's yours if you want it." "I can't afford." "You pay what you pay now. Same rent." He held up a hand when she started to protest. "I'm not being charitable. The place needs someone in it, and you need somewhere safe. It's business." It wasn't business. They both knew it. But Natasha was drowning, and here was a lifeline. And she'd be damned if she'd let pride kill her daughter's chance at a better life. "Okay," she whispered. "Thank you." Vincent drove her home, and when she got there, Mrs. Cora was asleep on the couch and Emma was tucked into bed with her favorite stuffed rabbit. Natasha paid the neighbor, locked the door, and stood in her cramped kitchen trying to process what had just happened. Her phone buzzed. "Adrian. Same time next week. Rosa wants to make sure you're eating properly." Despite everything, despite the warning bells in her head and the danger she was walking into, Natasha smiled. "Okay." Over the next 3 weeks, a routine formed. Thursday dinners at Rosa's restaurant, Adrian asking about her day, her asking carefully about his. He never talked about his work, the dark parts everyone whispered about. Instead, he asked about Emma's favorite color, what books Natasha liked to read, whether she'd always wanted to be a waitress or if she'd had other dreams once. She learned he'd wanted to be an architect before his father died and left him an empire he never asked for. That he still drew sometimes, sketching buildings that would never exist on napkins at the restaurant. That he took his coffee black and hated mornings and had a scar on his left shoulder from a knife fight he wouldn't talk about. He learned she'd wanted to be a nurse before Emma came along and money got tight. That she sang off key when she was nervous and had read every book in the library's mystery section twice. That she hadn't let herself want anything beyond survival in so long she'd forgotten what hope felt like. On the 4th Thursday, he brought her keys to the apartment on Maple Street. "Move in this weekend," he said. "I'll send people to help." "Adrian, I can't just." "Yes, you can." His hand covered hers on the table, warm and solid. "Let someone take care of you for once, Natasha." The way he said her name made something low in her stomach tighten. She'd been alone so long, strong because she had no choice, and here was someone offering to share the weight. It was intoxicating and terrifying in equal measure. "Okay," she breathed. His thumb stroked across her knuckles, and the air between them shifted. Charged. Dangerous in a completely different way than before. Rosa appeared with dessert, her timing almost too perfect, and the moment broke. But when Natasha left that night, Adrian walked her to the car, his hand on the small of her back, and she felt that touch long after she got home. Moving day came with 6 men in a truck, and everything Natasha owned packed in 2 hours. The new apartment was beautiful. Hardwood floors, big windows, a kitchen 3 times the size of her old one. Emma ran through the rooms squealing with delight, and Natasha stood in the empty living room trying not to cry. Adrian showed up at sunset with pizza and beer, helping her unpack boxes while Emma chattered non-stop about her new room. He was patient with her daughter, kind in a way that made Natasha's heart ache. Michael had been a good father in the short time they'd had. Adrian would have been too if Sophia had lived. After Emma fell asleep in her new bedroom, Adrian and Natasha sat on the floor of the living room surrounded by half-empty boxes. "Thank you," she said for the 100th time. "For all of this." "Stop thanking me." But he smiled when he said it. "I like helping you." "Why?" The question had been burning in her chest for weeks. "Really, Adrian? Why me?" He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then he reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, his fingers lingering against her cheek. "Because when I look at you, I remember what it feels like to want something." His voice was low, raw. "I've been dead inside for 3 years, Natasha. Going through motions. Running a business I hate, living a life that doesn't mean anything. And then you walked up to my table, scared and brave and so damn beautiful, and something in me woke up." Her breath caught. "Adrian, I know it's too soon. I know you're still grieving your husband, and I'm not exactly a safe bet." His hand dropped. "But I need you to know that this isn't charity. This is me being selfish. Wanting you close. Wanting to see you smile because I did something right for once in my goddamn life." She should pull away. Should put distance between herself and this man whose darkness called to something broken in her. But instead, Natasha leaned forward and kissed him. It was soft at first, tentative, testing. Then his hand came up to cup her face and she melted into him. 2 years of loneliness and fear pouring into that kiss. He tasted like beer and possibility, and when they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Natasha knew she'd just crossed another line. "I'm scared," she whispered against his lips. "Me too." He rested his forehead against hers. "But maybe we can be scared together." That night, after he left, Natasha lay in her new bed in her new apartment and let herself want something beyond survival for the first time since Michael died. Let herself imagine a future that included a dangerous man with sad eyes and gentle hands who made her feel protected and desired and seen. She didn't know that 2 floors above her, in an apartment she didn't know existed, someone was watching, taking pictures, reporting back to people who'd been waiting for Adrian Moretti to care about something again. Waiting for a weakness they could exploit. And Natasha Johnson, with her beautiful daughter and her grateful smile, was about to become exactly that. For 2 months, Natasha lived in a dream. Thursday dinners became Tuesday lunches, then Sunday breakfasts with Emma, who adored Adrian and his quiet patience with her endless questions. He fixed the wobbly table in their kitchen, brought books for Emma, kissed Natasha goodnight at her door like a gentleman, even though the heat between them was becoming unbearable. She was falling in love with him, terrified and helpless and falling anyway. Then everything shattered on an ordinary Wednesday morning. Natasha was walking Emma to school when the black SUV pulled up beside them. 2 men got out, suits and sunglasses, looking exactly like what they were. Natasha Johnson. The taller one flashed a badge. FBI. "We need to talk about Adrian Moretti." Her stomach dropped. Emma's hand tightened in hers. Not here, Natasha said, looking at her daughter. Please. They waited while she took Emma into school, then guided her into the SUV. The tall one, Agent Cora, didn't waste time. How long have you been involved with Moretti? I'm not involved. He's a friend. A friend who moved you into his building, pays your rent, takes you to dinner twice a week. Agent Cora slid a folder across to her. Photographs. Her and Adrian at the restaurant. Moving boxes. Him kissing her goodnight. We've been watching him for 3 years, Mrs. Johnson. Waiting for an opening. Natasha's hands shook. I haven't done anything wrong. Not yet. The other agent, a woman named Torres, leaned forward. But Moretti is dangerous. Money laundering, extortion. We suspect involvement in at least 2 murders. He's careful, clean, but he's not a good man. He's been nothing but kind to me. Because he wants something. Cora's voice was almost gentle. Men like Moretti don't do kind. They do transactions. Whatever he's given you, he'll collect on eventually. Torres pulled out another photo. Adrian with a man Natasha didn't recognize, both looking serious outside a warehouse. 3 days ago, this man disappeared. Carlos Vega, a rival who was moving into Moretti's territory. We think Adrian ordered the hit. Natasha felt sick. You think? We need proof. And you can help us get it. No. She stood up. Absolutely not. He's using you. Cora stood too. Playing the grieving widower. Preying on a vulnerable single mother. How convenient that you needed help right when he showed up. The words hit like poison. Doubt crept in, ugly and insidious. Had Adrian orchestrated the stalker just to rescue her? Was any of it real? I want to go home. Think about your daughter, Torres said quietly. What happens when his world catches up to you? When his enemies use her to get to him? Because they will, Mrs. Johnson. The moment they realize he cares about you, you and Emma become targets. Natasha's blood turned to ice. Help us build a case against him. Wear a wire, get him talking about his business. In exchange, we'll protect you. Give you a fresh start somewhere safe, away from all this. And if I say no? Cora's expression hardened. Then we'll have to assume you're complicit. Charge you as an accessory to whatever comes next. They let her go with a card and a warning. 24 hours to decide. Natasha walked home in a daze. Everything felt contaminated now, poisoned by doubt. Was Adrian's kindness real or calculated? Did he actually care, or was she just a pawn in some game she didn't understand? Her phone buzzed. Adrian. Dinner tonight. I want to talk to you about something important. Her finger hovered over the screen. The smart thing would be to say no, to put distance between them until she figured this out. But she needed to see his face. Needed to look him in the eyes and know if any of it had been real. Okay. She met him at Rose's, and the moment she walked in, she knew something was different. He looked tense, worried in a way she'd never seen. We need to talk. He took her hand, led her to their usual table in the back. Rosa brought wine without being asked, her expression concerned. What's wrong? Natasha asked. Adrian was quiet for a long moment, studying their joined hands. I've made enemies in my life. Dangerous people who would hurt anyone I care about to get to me. Her heart hammered. Why are you telling me this? Because I care about you. About Emma. He met her eyes, and the raw emotion there stole her breath. And that makes you vulnerable. I've tried to keep you separate from my world, but it's not possible. Not anymore. What happened? Someone took pictures of us. Sent them to my competitors with a message. They know you matter to me. His jaw tightened. I have people protecting you, watching your building, but I need you to be careful. Don't go anywhere alone, don't talk to strangers, and if anything feels wrong, you call me immediately. Natasha thought of the FBI agents, their warnings, the photographs they'd shown her. Adrian, what exactly do you do? Your real business. Something flickered behind his eyes. Calculation. deciding how much truth to give her. I run my family's empire. Some of it's legitimate. Some of it isn't. He didn't look away. I'm not a good man, Natasha. I've done things that would horrify you. But everything I've done for you, everything between us, that's real. The FBI came to see me this morning. His expression went completely blank. Dangerous. What did they say? That you're using me. That you're a criminal and I'm either a victim or an accomplice. She pulled her hand back. They showed me pictures. You and some man named Carlos Vega. They said he disappeared. He did. Adrian's voice was flat. He was trafficking girls through my city. 14, 15 years old, brought in from other countries and sold. I told him to leave. He didn't listen. So you killed him. I made sure he wouldn't hurt anyone else. No apology, no justification. Just fact. Natasha stood up, heart racing. I have a daughter. I know. I can't be involved in this. I can't put Emma at risk. Adrian stood too, and the devastation in his eyes was so raw it hurt to look at. I know. That's why I'm telling you to walk away. She stared at him. What? Leave. Tonight. I'll arrange everything. New apartment across the city or a different state if you want. Money to start over. You and Emma, safe and far away from me and this world. His voice cracked. I won't contact you again. I'll let you go. Just like that. No. Not just like that. He cupped her face with both hands, gentle despite the violence she knew those hands were capable of. Walking away from you will destroy me, but keeping you close might get you killed. So I'm choosing you over what I want. I'm choosing Emma's safety over my own happiness. Tears burned her eyes. I don't know what's real anymore. This is real. He kissed her, soft and desperate. I love you, Natasha. I didn't mean to. I tried not to. But I do, and that's why I have to let you go. She kissed him back, 2 months of wanting pouring into it, and when they broke apart she was crying. I need time, she whispered. To think. You have 24 hours. Then my enemies will move, and the choice gets taken from both of us. He walked her to the car, and this time when Vincent drove away, Natasha watched Adrian disappear in the rearview mirror and wondered if she'd just seen him for the last time. At home, Emma was already asleep. Mrs. Cora handed over a drawing Emma had made. A stick figure family. Emma, Natasha, and a tall man with dark hair labeled Adrian. Natasha sat on her couch, Agent Cora's card in one hand, her phone with Adrian's number in the other, and realized she was standing at a cliff edge. Stay with Adrian, risk everything, possibly betray him to save herself. Or run, protect Emma, lose the first man who'd made her feel alive since Michael died. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Choose wrong and your daughter pays the price. We're watching. The photo attached showed Emma at school that morning, circled in red. Natasha's scream caught in her throat as her world collapsed into pure terror. Natasha called Adrian with shaking hands. He answered on the first ring. Someone just threatened Emma. Her voice broke. They sent a picture of her at school. I'm already on my way. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone but me. He arrived in 8 minutes with 4 men, all armed. Vincent swept the apartment while Adrian pulled Natasha into his arms. Show me. She showed him the text. His expression went cold, deadly. That's not my enemies. That's someone new. What does that mean? It means someone's playing both sides. He made a call. Pull Emma from school now. Bring her to the safe house. Wait, you can't just. They threatened your daughter. His eyes met hers. I'm not asking permission. Within an hour, Emma was in a secure location with 2 guards. She thought it was an adventure, didn't understand the danger. Natasha stood in Adrian's office above one of his clubs, watching him make calls, coordinate his people, transform into someone she barely recognized. Dangerous, powerful, ruthless. The FBI will protect us, she said quietly. Adrian looked up. The FBI can't even protect their own witnesses. You think they'll keep Emma safe? They offered me a deal. Information on you in exchange for witness protection. Silence filled the room. His men shifted uncomfortably. And Adrian's voice was carefully neutral. I haven't decided. He crossed to her, stopping close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. If you want to betray me, Natasha, do it. I won't stop you. But don't believe for 1 second that running will keep Emma safe. Whoever sent that text knows the FBI talked to you. They're forcing your hand. Why? What do they want? To see what I'll do. How far I'll go to protect you. He touched her face. The answer is anything. Everything. Which makes me vulnerable. And in my world, vulnerability gets you killed. Her phone rang. Agent Cora. Mrs. Johnson, we know about the threat. Bring Emma in. We can protect you both. How did you know about the threat? We're monitoring the situation. You're tapping my phone. For your safety. Moretti is dangerous. Natasha hung up. She looked at Adrian. They're listening. I know. My tech guy flagged it 2 days ago. He held up a different phone. Why I've been using this one. You knew the FBI was watching me and you didn't tell me? I was trying to protect you from having to choose sides. His voice was rough. Clearly that didn't work. Vincent appeared in the doorway. We found something. You need to see this. In the basement security room, monitors showed footage from various cameras around the city. Vincent pulled up a clip from 3 days ago. The FBI agents, Cora and Torres, meeting with a man in an expensive suit. That's Fred Santini, Adrian said quietly. My biggest competitor. The one who's been trying to take over my territory for 6 months. Natasha's stomach dropped. The FBI is working with him. Not officially. But Cora's been on Santini's payroll for 2 years. Vincent pulled up bank records. We've been tracking it. So the FBI can't protect me because they're corrupt. Natasha felt dizzy. And your enemies are threatening Emma? What am I supposed to do? Trust me. Adrian took her hands. I know that's asking a lot. I know you have every reason not to. But I will keep you and Emma safe, even if it costs me everything. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Another photo. This time of Mrs. Cora leaving her apartment building. Everyone you love. Choose wrong. Natasha's knees buckled. Adrian caught her. They're escalating. His jaw was tight. Trying to break you, make you panic. It's working. He pulled her close, and she let herself collapse into his strength for just a moment. Breathed in his scent, felt his heartbeat steady against her cheek. I need you to do something for me, he said quietly. Something dangerous. He pulled back. What? Meet with the FBI again. Tell them you'll cooperate. Wear their wire. Natasha stared. You want me to spy on you? I want you to feed them false information while we figure out who's really behind the threats. He tucked hair behind her ear. Cora thinks he's playing both sides. Let's use that. Make him think you're cooperating while we find out what Santini really wants. That could get me killed. So could running. So could hiding. At least this way, you're in control. His eyes searched hers. I'm not forcing you. If you want to take Emma and disappear, I'll make it happen. But if you stay, if you trust me, we end this together. It was insane. Dangerous. Probably going to blow up in her face. But looking at Adrian, seeing the desperate hope in his eyes, feeling the way her heart raced when he touched her, Natasha realized she'd already made her choice weeks ago. The first time he'd smiled at her. The first time he'd made her feel safe. What do I have to do? Relief flooded his expression. He kissed her, hard and grateful. Be brave. Like you've been since the day I met you. The next morning, Natasha called Agent Cora. I'll do it. I'll help you. They met in the same SUV. Cora smiled, victorious. Torres looked skeptical. Smart choice, Mrs. Johnson. They fitted her with a wire, gave her instructions. Get Adrian talking about his business. Crimes, names, anything they could use. What they didn't know was that Adrian's tech guy had already hacked their equipment. Everything Natasha recorded would be filtered, edited, useless in court. For 3 days she played her part. Had dinner with Adrian, asked careful questions, pretended nervousness when he deflected. The FBI seemed satisfied. Then on the 4th day, everything fell apart. Natasha arrived at Adrian's office for their scheduled meeting and found him standing over a body. Blood pooled on the floor. His hands were covered in it. Adrian! Her voice came out strangled. He looked up, and the emptiness in his eyes terrified her. He worked for me. 20 years, I trusted him. He gestured to the dead man. He's the one who sent the threats. Santini paid him to get close, find my weakness. Oh my God! The FBI is listening right now, aren't they? Adrian's voice was flat. Through the wire you're wearing. Her blood turned to ice. How did you? Because Torres isn't corrupt. She figured out Cora was dirty, told me yesterday. He stepped toward her. But she didn't know if you were really helping me or playing me. So we set a test. Natasha backed up. What? That body isn't real. Special effects, movie magic, very convincing. He kept coming. But your reaction is real. And now we know. You're still wearing their wire, still reporting to Cora, still playing both sides. You told me to. I told you we'd feed them false information. I gave you a clean wire to wear, left it on your kitchen counter this morning. His expression was carved from stone. You wore theirs instead. Which means you don't trust me. Which means I can't trust you. Tears burned her eyes. I was scared. I know. That's why I'm giving you one chance to walk away. He pulled out an envelope. Tickets for you and Emma. Flight leaves in 3 hours. Money to start over. Take it and go. Adrian, please. I love you, Natasha. But I can't have someone in my life who doesn't trust me. The pain in his voice nearly broke her. So go. Before this gets worse. What about the threats? Santini. I'll handle it. You'll be safe. He turned away. Vincent will take you home. She wanted to fight, to explain, to make him understand. But the set of his shoulders, the finality in his voice, told her the decision was made. In the car, Vincent handed her the envelope. Inside were tickets, cash, and a note in Adrian's handwriting. I'm sorry I couldn't be what you needed. Be happy. Natasha sat in her apartment, Emma playing in the next room, and realized she'd lost him. The choice had been made for her after all. Then her phone rang. Torres. Mrs. Johnson, Cora just got arrested. We have him on bribery, corruption, conspiracy. You're safe now. What about Santini? Adrian Moretti handled that personally an hour ago. Very permanently. Torres paused. He also made sure you were listed as an unwitting informant, cleared of any charges. You're free. Free. The word felt hollow. He loves you, you know, Torres said quietly. Everything he did was to protect you. Natasha hung up and looked at the plane tickets. At the life Adrian was giving her. The safe, clean future far away from danger and darkness and him. Then she looked at Emma's drawing of their stick figure family. And made the hardest choice of her life. Natasha tore up the plane tickets. She dropped Emma at the safe house with Vincent, ignoring his protests, and went straight to Adrian's office. He was standing at the window, silhouette dark against the city lights. I'm not leaving, she said. He didn't turn around. You should. I was scared. I made a mistake. But I'm choosing you now. I'm choosing us. She crossed to him. I trust you, Adrian. Completely. He finally looked at her, and the war in his eyes broke her heart. Hope and fear and desperate want. If you stay, there's no going back, he said quietly. I know. He kissed her like a drowning man, pulling her close, and she felt the exact moment he let his walls down. Let himself believe they could have this. I love you, he breathed against her lips. I love you too. For one perfect moment, everything felt possible. Then Vincent burst through the door, phone in hand, face ashen. Adrian. It's Rosa. They found her in the restaurant kitchen, the place that smelled like garlic and memories. She was still breathing, barely, blood spreading across the checkered floor. Stabbed 3 times. Rosa, no, no, no. Adrian dropped to his knees beside her, pressing his hands to the wounds. Call an ambulance. Rosa's eyes found his. Fred Santini. He said to tell you. He knows everything. Natasha's blood turned to ice. Everything. Including what she'd said while wearing the FBI wire. The locations, the safe houses, the people Adrian trusted. He said the woman told him. Rosa's gaze shifted to Natasha. Said thank you, for the help. Adrian went completely still. I swear I didn't. Natasha started, but the look he gave her was pure devastation. The wire. When you wore their wire instead of mine. His voice was hollow. What did we talk about that night? She tried to remember, panic clawing at her throat. I don't. We talked about your operations, the restaurant. You mentioned Rosa runs things when you're. I gave you locations. Safe houses. He stood slowly, backing away from her like she was poison. You led them right to her. I didn't know. Adrian, please, I didn't know Cora would give that information to Santini. Get out. His roar echoed through the restaurant. You did this. You wore their wire, you fed them information. And now Rosa is dying because I trusted you. The ambulance came. They took Rosa away, odds bad, so much blood lost. Adrian went with her, and before the doors closed, he looked at Natasha one last time. The emptiness in his eyes was worse than hatred. Vincent drove her home in silence. When they arrived, he finally spoke. He told me to pull protection from you. You're on your own now. Vincent, please. Rosa was like a mother to him after his own died. She was all he had left of his family, the good parts. Vincent's voice was hard. You took that from him. Natasha stumbled into her apartment and collapsed. She destroyed everything. Hurt the one person who'd been nothing but kind to her. Put Emma in danger for nothing. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Johnson. Santini's voice was smooth as silk. Thank you for the information. Very helpful. I didn't help you. I didn't know. Doesn't matter. Adrian thinks you did, and that's what counts. He laughed softly. He'll never trust you again. Never forgive you. You broke him for me without even trying. What do you want? I want you to know that Rosa's blood is on your hands. And tomorrow, when I finish what I started, when I take everything Adrian has left, that'll be on you too. He paused. Oh, and Mrs. Johnson. That safe house where your daughter is. The one you talked about on the wire. We know where it is. The line went dead. Natasha called Vincent, but he didn't answer. Called Adrian straight to voicemail. The safe house number just rang. She grabbed her keys and drove like a maniac across town, running red lights, hands shaking so badly she could barely steer. The safe house was a small home in a quiet neighborhood. Lights off, no guards visible. Everything was wrong. She burst through the door and found the guards unconscious on the floor. Emma's backpack on the couch. No Emma. A note on the table in elegant handwriting. She's with me now. Come alone to the warehouse on 5th Street or I start sending pieces. You have 1 hour. Natasha's scream tore from her throat, raw and animal. This was it. The worst thing. The only thing that mattered. She'd lost Adrian. Lost Rosa. Lost any chance at happiness. But if she lost Emma, she lost everything. She drove to the warehouse with no plan, no help, nothing but a mother's desperate terror. The building was dark, abandoned. She walked in calling her daughter's name. Emma. Emma, baby, where are you? Lights flooded on, blinding. When her vision cleared, she saw Santini standing on a catwalk above. Well-dressed, handsome, smiling. And beside him, Emma. Duct tape over her mouth, tears streaming down her face, a man holding her with a gun to her head. "Mrs. Johnson. So glad you could make it." Santini leaned on the railing. "We have some things to discuss." "Let her go, please. She's 6 years old." "I will. After you help me with one small thing." He pulled out a phone. "You're going to call Adrian Moretti. Tell him you have information about who really hurt Rosa. Get him to come here alone." "He won't listen to me." "Then your daughter dies. Simple." Natasha's whole body shook. If she called Adrian, she'd be leading him into a trap. He'd die. But if she didn't, Emma would die. There was no good choice. No way out. Just impossible loss in every direction. Tick-tock, Mrs. Johnson. With trembling hands, she dialed Adrian's number. He answered on the fourth ring, voice rough. "What?" "Adrian, please listen. I know who really set up Rosa. I know who's behind everything. The lies tasted like acid. I can prove it wasn't me. But you have to come to the warehouse on 5th Street. Alone. Please." Silence stretched so long she thought he'd hung up. "If this is a trap." "It's not. Swear." "Please, Adrian. You have to trust me one more time." More silence. Then, "I'll be there in 20 minutes. The line went dead. Natasha looked up at Santini, at her daughter crying and terrified, and realized what she'd just done. She'd betrayed Adrian again. Led the man she loved into an execution. To save her daughter, she'd become exactly what he'd feared. A weakness. A weapon used against him. And when he arrived and discovered the truth, the look in his eyes would destroy whatever pieces of her heart were left. Rosa died on the operating table at 11:47 p.m. Natasha didn't know yet. Adrian was already on his way, walking into a trap, trusting the woman who'd already cost him everything. And in that warehouse, Natasha Johnson finally understood the price of her fear. Everything. It had cost her everything. 20 minutes felt like 20 hours. Natasha stood in the center of the warehouse, Emma sobbing above her, Santini's men positioned in the shadows with guns. Waiting. She'd done this. All of it. Every mistake, every moment of fear and doubt had led here. "Mommy." Emma's voice broke through the tape, muffled and terrified. "It's okay, baby. It's going to be okay." The lie burned her throat. Santini checked his watch. 5 minutes. Have to say I'm impressed. Adrian must really love you to walk into this so obviously. "He doesn't love me anymore." Natasha's voice was hollow. "I destroyed that." "Yes, you did." Santini smiled. "You know what's funny? I didn't even plan this. I was going to use force, violence, the usual methods. But then the FBI handed me you. A scared single mother, already paranoid, so easy to manipulate. You did my work for me." The words landed like punches. He was right. She'd been so consumed by fear, so desperate to protect Emma, that she'd become the very threat she was trying to avoid. "I was just trying to keep my daughter safe," she whispered. "And look how that turned out." Santini gestured to Emma. "She's in more danger now than she ever was. 'Cause you made weak choices. You didn't trust the one man who could actually protect you both." Natasha closed her eyes. Saw Michael's face the day he died, leaving her alone. Saw the past 2 years of struggling, drowning, barely surviving. Saw Adrian's kindness, his love, the way he'd looked at her like she was worth saving. And she saw the moment she'd chosen fear over faith. Put on the FBI's wire instead of his. Doubted him when he'd given her every reason to trust. Her fatal flaw, the thing that had destroyed everything. She'd been so afraid of losing what little she had that she'd sabotaged the one chance at something more. The warehouse door opened. Adrian walked in alone, hands visible, no weapons. He saw Natasha first, then followed her gaze up to Emma. His face went blank. Understanding, betrayal, rage, all flickering across his features in seconds. "Hello, Adrian." Santini's voice echoed through the space. "So good of you to come." Adrian's eyes never left Natasha. "You set me up." "She had to." Santini laughed. "It was her daughter or you. She made the obvious choice. Can't really blame her. Adrian, I'm sorry. Natasha started, but he cut her off. Are you hurt? His voice was flat, emotionless. What? Are you hurt? Did they touch you? Tears streamed down her face. Even now, after everything, he was checking if she was okay. No. He nodded once, then turned his attention to Santini. Let the girl go. Your problem is with me. Oh, she's not going anywhere. She's leverage. Santini pulled out a gun. Here's how this works. You're going to sign over every business, every property, everything you own. And then you're going to leave this city and never come back. Do that, and the woman and child live. And if I don't, then I kill you, then them, and I take everything anyway. But this way is cleaner. Santini smiled. Your choice. Adrian was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Natasha again, and the pain in his eyes shattered her. I would have died for you, he said softly. I would have given up everything, burned my whole world down if you just trusted me. I know. She could barely breathe. I know, and I'm sorry, and I don't expect forgiveness. But please save Emma. She's innocent in this. Of course I'm going to save her. Something shifted in his expression. Resolve. I'm going to save you both. Even though you don't deserve it. Even though you betrayed me twice. He turned back to Santini. I'll sign whatever you want. No. Natasha lurched forward. Adrian, don't. Shut up. His voice cracked like a whip. You lost the right to have an opinion when you led me here. The words cut deeper than any knife. But he was right. She'd done this. Destroyed a good man's faith. Cost him everything. And now he was sacrificing himself to fix her mistakes. Santini's men brought papers. Adrian signed them one by one. His empire dissolving with each signature. Businesses, properties, bank accounts. Everything his father had built. Everything he'd maintained. Natasha watched him give it all away and wanted to die. When the last paper was signed, Santini smiled. Pleasure doing business. Now get out. You have 1 hour to leave the city before I change my mind and kill you anyway. Adrian started toward the door, then stopped. Looked up at Emma, still crying, still held at gunpoint. The girl, he said, goes with her mother once you're gone. Santini waved dismissively. I keep my word. No, you don't. Adrian's voice was cold. You're going to kill us all the second I leave. I know how you work. Santini's smile faded. Then I guess we have a problem. Everything happened at once. Adrian moved, faster than Natasha thought possible, pulling a gun from somewhere and firing. Santini's men returned fire. Glass shattered, wood splintered. Adrian dove behind a crate, bullets chasing him. Emma! Natasha screamed. In the chaos, the man holding Emma loosened his grip. Emma bit his hand hard, and he jerked back. She ran, small and fast, heading for the stairs. Another gunshot. The man fell. Adrian, perfect aim even under fire. Emma reached Natasha, and Natasha grabbed her, covering her body with her own, making herself a shield. The back exit. Adrian shouted. Go now. But Natasha saw his position. Pinned down, 3 men closing in. If she ran, they'd kill him. This was it. The moment. Choice. Save herself and Emma. Let Adrian die covering their escape. Or do something brave for once in her terrified life. She pulled Emma toward a side door, pushed her through. Run to the street. Flag down anyone. Scream for help. Go. Mommy. Go. Emma ran. And Natasha turned back, picked up a metal pipe from the ground, and ran toward the men hunting Adrian. She wasn't strong. Wasn't trained. Wasn't anything but a scared waitress who'd made terrible choices. But she was done letting fear control her. She swung the pipe at the nearest man's head. It connected with a sickening crack, and he went down. The second man turned, surprised, and Adrian shot him. The third man grabbed Natasha, gun to her temple. Drop it, Moretti, or she dies. Adrian froze, weapon aimed, finger on the trigger. Do it, Natasha said. Her voice was steady for the first time in months. Take the shot. Natasha. You can make it. I trust you. She met his eyes. I trust you, Adrian. For one crystalline second, everything was perfectly still. Then Adrian fired. The bullet grazed Natasha's shoulder and hit the man behind her square in the chest. He dropped and she collapsed, ears ringing, shoulder on fire. Adrian was there in seconds, checking her wound. His hands gentle despite the violence surrounding them. You came back, he said, and his voice broke. You sent Emma away and came back for me. I love you. Blood soaked her sleeve, but she grabbed his shirt with her good hand. I'm sorry I didn't trust you. I'm sorry for everything. But I love you, and I wasn't going to let you die alone. Sirens wailed in the distance. Emma must have found help. Santini appeared from the shadows, bloodied but alive, gun raised toward them both. If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. He fired. Adrian threw himself over Natasha, and she felt his body jerk as the bullet hit him instead of her. No. She caught him as he fell. No, 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 Adrian, stay with me. Blood spread across his chest, too much blood. His eyes found hers, already fading. Worth it, he whispered. You're worth it. Police flooded the warehouse. Santini dropped his gun, hands up. Someone was pulling Natasha away from Adrian, but she fought them, screaming his name. Paramedics swarmed. Someone was working on her shoulder. She saw them loading Adrian onto a stretcher, saw the grim faces, the urgent movements that meant bad, really bad. Emma crashed into her, crying. Natasha held her daughter with one arm while watching them take Adrian away, and understood with perfect, horrible clarity what she'd truly lost. The man who'd loved her despite everything. Who'd protected her even as she betrayed him. Who'd taken a bullet meant for her and thought it was worth it. And she might never get to tell him that he'd saved her in every way a person could be saved. That she'd finally found courage. That she chose him. Would always choose him. He survived. Adrian was in surgery for 6 hours. Natasha sat in the waiting room, Emma asleep against her shoulder. Her own wound bandaged and aching. Vincent had come, silent and grim. Torres showed up to take her statement. Santini's going away for life, Torres said. Multiple charges. You're safe now. If the word felt meaningless when Adrian might be dying. Rosa didn't make it, Vincent said quietly. She died during surgery last night. The words hit like a physical blow. Sweet Rosa who'd fed them pasta and smiled like a mother. Because of information Natasha had unknowingly provided. I killed her, Natasha whispered. No. Santini killed her. Vincent's voice was hard. You made mistakes. But he pulled the trigger. The surgeon finally emerged at 3 a.m. Exhausted, blood on his scrubs. He's alive. Sable. The bullet missed his heart by 2 inches. He paused. He's very lucky. Natasha collapsed into sobs, relief and grief tangled together. Emma woke up, confused, and Natasha held her tight. Is Adrian okay? Emma asked. He's going to be okay, baby. But when they let her see him an hour later, he looked anything but okay. Pale, hooked to machines, breathing shallow. She sat beside his bed and took his hand carefully. I'm here, she whispered. I'm not going anywhere. His eyes opened, unfocused with pain medication. Natasha. Don't talk. Just rest. Emma. Safe. She's with Vincent. She's okay because of you. Tears spilled down her face. You saved us both. He tried to smile, winced. Told you. I'd protect you. You did. You gave up everything. She squeezed his hand gently. Adrian, the papers you signed. Your entire empire. It's all gone. Don't care. His words were slurred but clear. Just wanted you safe. I'm going to fix it. The words came from somewhere deep inside, a certainty she'd never felt before. I'm going to get it all back for you. His eyes drifted closed. Too late. Already transferred. Natasha kissed his forehead and left him to rest. In the hallway she found Torres. The documents Adrian signed. Are they legal? Torres looked uncomfortable. Signed under duress. Probably could be contested, but it would take months, maybe years in court. And Santini had lawyers ready. Everything's already being transferred to shell companies. Who benefits if Santini goes to prison? His second in command. Guy named Luca Romano. Torres pulled out her phone, showed a photo. Mid-40s, cold eyes, expensive suit. He's been waiting for Santini to slip up for years. Now he gets the whole operation, including everything Adrian signed over. Natasha's mind raced. 2 years of waitressing had taught her to read people, to notice things. And she'd noticed something during those dinners with Adrian. The way he thought, strategized, saw 3 moves ahead. She wasn't him. Wasn't smart like that or ruthless. But she had something else. She knew how to survive. How to fight when everything was against her. How to protect what mattered. I need to talk to Luca Romano, she said. That's insane. He's as dangerous as Santini. I don't care. Natasha met her eyes. Adrian gave up everything to save me and my daughter. I'm not letting him wake up with nothing. Torres studied her for a long moment. You're different than when we first met. I had to be. It took Vincent's connections to arrange the meeting. Luca Romano agreed to see her at a restaurant downtown, public and safe. Natasha wore her waitress uniform. She wanted him to underestimate her. He was waiting in a back booth, 2 bodyguards nearby. Handsome, cold, dangerous. Mrs. Johnson. I've heard a lot about you. She sat across from him, hands steady despite her racing heart. You have something that belongs to Adrian Moretti. I have something that was legally signed over to my organization, yes. He smiled. Unfortunate situation, but business is business. You don't want his businesses. Luca raised an eyebrow. And why wouldn't I? Because you're smarter than Santini. You know Adrian has loyalties, connections, people who'll fight to get his empire back. Taking it means years of war, violence, instability. She leaned forward. Or you could make a deal. I'm listening. You void the transfers. Give everything back to Adrian. In exchange, he stays out of your way. No retaliation against you for Santini's actions. A clean slate. Why would I agree to that? I have everything already. Because Adrian Moretti, recovering from a gunshot wound, broke and with nothing to lose, is the most dangerous man in this city. Natasha held his gaze. But Adrian Moretti, with his empire back, happy, in love, with a family to protect? He just wants peace. He's tired of the violence. Tired of the game. You're offering me peace in exchange for everything I just gained. I'm offering you survival. Because if you keep what's his, he'll come for you. And he won't stop until you're destroyed. He paused. But if you do this, you get something more valuable. You get his respect. Maybe even an ally. Luca was quiet, calculating. You love him. More than anything. Enough to walk in here and negotiate with a man who could make you disappear. Enough to do whatever it takes. He smiled, genuine this time. Santini was wrong about you. You're not weak. You're just smart enough to know when to be afraid. He pulled out his phone, made a call. Draw up papers returning all Moretti assets. Full reversal. Natasha's breath caught. Just like that. I didn't want war with Adrian Moretti. I just wanted Santini gone, and you've handed me that. He stood, extended his hand. Tell Adrian we're even. And tell him he's a lucky man. She shook his hand, barely believing it worked. Back at the hospital, Adrian was awake, sitting up slightly. Emma was on the bed beside him, chattering about her adventure, and he was listening with patient attention despite obvious pain. Mommy, Emma waved. Adrian says I was very brave. You were, baby. Natasha crossed to them, kissed Emma's head, then looked at Adrian. Can we talk? Alone. Vincent took Emma for ice cream. When they were alone, Natasha sat on the edge of Adrian's bed. I met with Luca Romano. Adrian's expression went dark. You did what? I negotiated. Your empire, everything you signed away, it's being returned. Full reversal. You'll have everything back by tomorrow. He stared at her. How? I convinced him peace with you was more valuable than war. She took his hand. I told him you were done with the violence. That you just wanted to protect your family. Was I wrong? No. His voice was rough. You weren't wrong. I also told him you had a family now. Me and Emma. If you still want us. Adrian pulled her closer with his good arm, ignoring the pain it caused. I never stopped wanting you. Even when I was furious, even when you betrayed me, I never stopped loving you. I'm sorry. For everything. For not trusting you, for the mistakes, for Rosa. Tears streamed down her face. I was so afraid of losing what little I had that I almost lost everything that mattered. You came back for me in that warehouse. Sent Emma to safety and came back. He cupped her face. That's when I knew. You'd finally chosen me over your fear. I choose you now. Always. She kissed him softly. If you'll have me. Have us. Yes. The word was simple, absolute. Yes to everything. The door burst open. Torres out of breath. We have a problem. One of Santini's men escaped custody. Carlo Vega's brother. He's sworn revenge and he's in the wind. Natasha felt Adrian tense beside her. He's coming for you, Torres said, looking at Adrian. Both of you. We have 24 hours, maybe less. Adrian tried to sit up fully, grimaced in pain. I need to get out of here. Get protection on Natasha and Emma. You can't leave. You just had surgery. Natasha stood. We'll handle this. Natasha. No. She met his eyes. You've protected me enough. You almost died protecting me. Now let me protect you. She turned to Torres. What do you need me to do? Torres set up protection at the hospital, but Natasha knew it wasn't enough. Carlo Vega's brother, Miguel, was former military. Filled. Patient. He'd find a way through. We need to draw him out, Natasha said. Use me as bait. Absolutely not. Adrian's voice was sharp despite his weakness. It's the only way. He wants revenge. Let him think he can get it. She looked at Torres. Can you track him if he comes for me? Torres hesitated. It's risky. Everything's been risky. Natasha squeezed Adrian's hand. Trust me. Like I should have trusted you from the beginning. They set it up carefully. Natasha would take Emma to the safe house, the new one only Torres knew about. They'd leak the location through channels Miguel was monitoring. When he came, Torres and her team would be waiting. I don't like this, Adrian said as Vincent helped him into a wheelchair. He was being discharged against medical advice, insisting on being nearby. If anything happens to you. It won't. Natasha kissed him. I'm not the same scared woman anymore. You taught me how to be brave. You were always brave. You just didn't know it yet. The safe house was a small cabin an hour outside the city. Emma colored at the kitchen table while Natasha watched the windows. Gun Torres had given her heavy in her hand. She'd never held a weapon before. Now she was willing to use one to protect her daughter. Dusk fell. Emma yawned, tired. Natasha put her to bed in the back room, kissed her forehead. Is the bad man coming? Emma asked quietly. Maybe. But Mommy won't let him hurt you. I promise. You're different now, Emma said. You don't look scared anymore. Natasha's throat tightened. I'm still scared, baby. But I'm not letting fear stop me. She returned to the living room. Checked the security feed Torres had set up. Nothing yet. Her phone buzzed. Adrian. I'm 5 minutes away with Vincent. Torres has her team in position around the perimeter. You should be in the hospital. You should be anywhere but there. Guess we're both stubborn. She heard the smile in his voice. I love you. I love you too. Movement on the security feed. A figure approaching through the trees, careful and tactical. Miguel. Natasha's heart hammered. She texted Torres. He's here. North side. She checked that Emma's door was locked, then positioned herself where she could see both the front door and the hallway to her daughter. Raised the gun the way Torres had taught her. The door exploded inward. Miguel came through fast, weapon up, eyes scanning. Where is he? Miguel's voice was rough with grief and rage. Where's Moretti? Not here. Natasha kept the gun steady. Just me and my daughter. Then you'll do. He cares about you. Killing you kills him. Miguel advanced. My brother didn't deserve to die. Your brother was trafficking children. Natasha didn't lower her weapon. He got what he deserved. He was family. So is Emma. So is Adrian. And I won't let you hurt them. Her voice cracked. I know what loss feels like. I know grief. But revenge won't bring your brother back. It'll just create more pain. I don't care about pain. I care about justice. Then put down the gun and let the law handle this. She met his eyes. Or shoot me and prove you're exactly what your brother was. A monster. Miguel's weapon wavered. For a second, Natasha thought she'd reached him. Then his finger tightened on the trigger. The shot came from the window. Miguel dropped, blood blooming on his shoulder. Torres burst through the door, team behind her. Clear. Suspect down. But Natasha was already running to Emma's room, throwing open the door. Emma sat up, crying, and Natasha grabbed her. It's okay, baby. It's over. We're safe. Adrian appeared in the doorway, leaning heavily on Vincent, face pale but eyes fierce. He crossed to them, wrapped his arms around both of them despite the pain it caused. My family, he whispered. My whole world. They arrested Miguel, read him his rights. He was crying, broken, just a man who'd lost someone and wanted someone to blame. Natasha felt pity alongside the relief. You could have shot him, Torres said quietly. You had the angle. Why didn't you? Because I'm not that person. I'll protect my family, but I won't become a killer if I don't have to. Natasha looked at Adrian. Someone taught me there's a difference between strength and violence. Adrian kissed her temple. You saved us. All of us. Back in the city, with Miguel in custody and Santini already sentenced, the nightmare finally ended. Adrian recovered slowly, Natasha at his side. Emma started calling him almost daddy, which made him smile through the pain. 3 weeks later, Adrian took them back to Rosa's restaurant. It had been closed since her death, but he'd kept the staff on, paying them full salary. I want to reopen it, he said, standing in the empty dining room. In her memory. But I need someone to run it. He looked at Natasha. Me. I'm just a waitress. You're brilliant at reading people, at making them feel cared for. You negotiated with Luca Romano and won. You faced down a killer to protect Emma. He took her hands. You're so much more than just a waitress. I don't know anything about running a restaurant. You'll learn. And I'll help you. We'll make it something good. Something Rosa would be proud of. Natasha looked around the space, imagined it full of families, laughter, the smell of garlic bread. A place of warmth instead of grief. Okay, she said. Let's do it. That night, after Emma was asleep, Adrian pulled out a small box. I bought this before everything went wrong. Before the warehouse, before I got shot. He opened it, revealing a simple ring. No enormous diamond, just a single stone that caught the light. I was too afraid to give it to you. Thought maybe I was moving too fast, or you weren't ready. Natasha's breath caught. But then you came back for me. Fought for me. Risked everything to save me. He got down on one knee, wincing slightly. So I'm asking now. Natasha Johnson, will you marry me? She pulled him up, kissing him before he could hurt himself further. Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. He slid the ring on her finger, and it fit perfectly. Like everything about them. Broken pieces that had found each other and made something whole. I never thought I'd feel this again, Adrian whispered. After Sophia died, I thought that part of me was gone forever. Me too. After Michael. Natasha rested her forehead against his. But we get second chances. We get to be happy again. Together. Together. Outside the window, the city glittered with light and possibility. Somewhere out there, Luca Romano was building his empire. Torres was closing cases. Vincent was probably worrying about Adrian overexerting himself. But in that moment, in that small apartment that had become a home, Natasha felt something she hadn't felt in years. Love. The dangerous man with sad eyes had become her salvation. And the scared waitress had become his strength. Two broken people made whole by choosing each other. Again and again and again. 6 months later, Rosa's restaurant reopened. They kept the name, kept the recipes, kept the checkered tablecloths. Natasha ran it with a confidence that surprised her, moving through the dining room greeting customers, ensuring every detail was perfect. Emma sat at the corner booth doing homework after school, safe and happy. She had friends now, a stable home, a mother who wasn't constantly exhausted. And she had Adrian, who'd officially adopted her 3 weeks ago. The paperwork had made them both cry. Adrian still ran his businesses, the legitimate ones. He'd walked away from the darker parts of his empire, letting Luca Romano have that world. Some nights Natasha saw the weight of that choice in his eyes, the struggle of being someone new. But he never wavered. I spent years being my father's son, he'd told her once. Now I get to be Emma's father. Your husband. That's enough. They'd married quietly at City Hall, just Vincent and Torres as witnesses. No big wedding, no fuss. Just two people who'd fought through hell choosing each other in the simplest way possible. But Rosa's absence ached. They'd hung her picture by the kitchen, flowers always fresh beneath it. Some mornings Natasha caught Adrian staring at it, grief still raw. She would have loved this, Natasha said, coming up beside him. Seeing the restaurant full again. She would have loved you running it. He pulled her close. She told me once, the night before she died. Said you were good for me. That you'd save me if I let you. We saved each other. The evening rush started. Families filled the tables, laughter and conversation warming the space. Natasha moved through it all. No longer the tired waitress no one noticed. Now she was the owner, the heart of this place, seen and valued. A young woman came in, alone, looking nervous. She sat at the bar, ordered coffee she barely touched. Something about her resonated with Natasha. The exhaustion, the quiet desperation. Natasha brought over a plate of Rosa's famous garlic bread on the house. Rough day? She asked gently. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Rough year. I understand. Natasha sat beside her. More than you know. They talked for an hour. The woman, Sarah, was a single mother too. Working 3 jobs, drowning in bills, scared all the time. Natasha saw herself in every word. When Sarah left, Natasha slipped a card into her hand. We're hiring. Kitchen staff, good pay, flexible hours. Call me tomorrow. I don't know anything about restaurant work. Neither did I 6 months ago. Natasha smiled. Sometimes we just need someone to give us a chance. After closing, Adrian helped her clean up while Emma slept in the office on the couch they'd put there for late nights. You gave that woman a job, he said. Didn't even check references. She needed help. I remember what that felt like. He kissed her, soft and lingering. You're changing lives now. Just like you changed mine. They locked up, walked to the car together. The city was quiet, peaceful. Adrian opened the door for her, something he still did every time, and Natasha paused. What? He asked. I was just thinking about that night. When I whispered to you about the stalker. She touched his face. I was so scared. Of everything. And you looked at me like I mattered. You did matter. You do. I know that now. She kissed him. It just took me a while to believe it. They drove home, Emma sleeping in the back seat, And Natasha looked at her little family and felt overwhelming gratitude. For second chances. For finding love in unexpected places. For learning that being brave didn't mean not being scared. It meant choosing love anyway. At home, Adrian carried Emma to bed while Natasha made tea. When he returned, they sat on the couch together, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her. "Happy?" he asked. "So happy it scares me sometimes." "Me too." He kissed her hair. "But we're scared together. That's what matters." Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Thank you for tonight. For seeing me. You have no idea what it meant. Sarah." Natasha smiled and showed Adrian. "You're collecting strays now," he teased. "Says the man who collected me. Best decision I ever made." They sat in comfortable silence. Two broken people who'd found each other in the darkness and chosen to walk into the light together. The scars remained. Rosa's loss, Michael's death, the betrayals and bullets and fear. But so did the love. The hope. The family they'd built from the wreckage. Outside, the city hummed with a million stories. People struggling, surviving, searching for connection. And in a small restaurant with checkered tablecloths, there would be warm food and second chances waiting. Natasha closed her eyes, content. She'd started as the tired waitress no one noticed. The woman drowning in grief and bills and fear. Now she was Natasha Moretti. Wife, mother, restaurant owner, fighter, survivor, loved. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Probably Sarah with a question about the job. But when Natasha glanced at the screen, her blood went cold. A single line of text and a photo. Emma at school that day, circled in red. Just like before. Some debts never get paid. Some enemies never forget. See you soon. Natasha's hand tightened on the phone. Across the room, Adrian noticed her expression and tensed. "What's wrong?" She looked at her husband, her sleeping daughter down the hall, the life they'd built. Then she looked at the threat on her screen and felt something unexpected. Not fear. Not anymore. Determination. "Nothing we can't handle," she said quietly. "Together." Adrian moved closer, seeing the message. His expression went dark but calm. The warrior beneath the husband. "Together," he agreed. And as Natasha deleted the text and pulled her family close, she knew one truth with absolute certainty. Whatever came next, whoever thought they could threaten her family, they were about to learn a very important lesson. She wasn't the scared waitress anymore. She was a mother, wife, a woman who'd faced down killers and chosen love over fear. And she would protect what was hers, no matter what it cost.